Welcome to C-Suite at the Open. I'm Caroline Hunter, Head of Company Services based in Toronto. Joining us today is John Young, Chief Executive Officer of Boat Rocker Media. Boat Rocker raised $170 million when it completed its IPO on TSX at the end of March in 2021. John, welcome to C-Suite at the Open.
Thanks very much for having me, Caroline. Thank you.
Let's start with an overview. Tell us about Boat Rocker.
Sure thing. I mean, Boat Rocker is a global, independent, integrated entertainment company. And what we do is we harness the power of creativity and commerce, and we try to tell stories and build brands. That's the purpose of the company. We've been doing it for a long time, over 17 years, since it was founded by our co-chairs, Ivan Schneeberg and David Fortier. And the job has been really to build a company which has now almost 900 employees all over North America and indeed in Europe, and produce content, create television and film in all different genres, unscripted, scripted, kids and family. We distribute thousands of hours of content all over the world every year. And of course, we manage an A-list group of talent, celebrity actors, mostly based out of New York and Los Angeles. So it's been a wonderful journey building the company up. I've been with the company for over 12 years, and it's really been quite an amazing journey to this point.
Well, you touched on it a little bit there, and it's one of your investment highlights, and that's your diversified business model. So maybe you can expand on that a little bit.
I can, yeah. We think about the business in that way. We have this diversified business model, and it's diversified in a number of ways. It's diversified by the genre of content that we make. So we make TV shows in scripted, 1-hour dramas. We make television in unscripted world, the reality shows like The Amazing Race and Big Brother, to name but a few. And we have a kids and family division, which also produces content that it creates itself and IP that it sources, as well as an animation studio that actually services a lot of great buyers content around the world. So we're diversified in the type of content that we make. We're diversified by the type of buyer that we service. We're servicing linear broadcasters here in Canada, as we have done since the day we started. And now, of course, with the OTT and the SVOD players, we're servicing the Netflixes, the Apple TV Pluses, the Amazons, many, many more that have come to market. So we're diversified in the buyers that we work for. We're diversified in the revenue mix of our company. A lot of the time we're trying to build IP, source IP, make our content, produce it ourselves, and of course have the chance to try and get outsized returns on owning the content and selling it around the world that's our own. That involves putting some capital at risk, but of course the reward can be greater. But we also service content for buyers, which is less risky. They give us the capital, they want us to make their show for them, we deliver that show for them, and we earn a fees while we do that, so less risky as well. So a couple of different ways for us to generate revenue from the business. And that's why we think of our business, again, as diversified in lots of different ways. And it's taken us a while to get there. We've built up these creative and commercial capabilities over the last 17 plus years. A lot of it through acquisition over the last 4 or 5 years, and indeed organically since the company started. So, and as we came this year to the public markets, it's a really nice sort of time for us to be taking those commercial and creative capabilities to the market, show them what we've built to this point, and then try to keep growing in the capital markets, from there.
Thank you. And you talked about content. And it's clear from what you've mentioned so far that Boat Rocker has a lot of great IP. So how do you go about sourcing new ideas and building brands?
Well, that is the business. How do we do that? It's a great question, and one where, as we look to from the capabilities and the creative team that we have, we source IP in all different ways. We source it from comic books and magazines. We work with writers and creative partners. So we're constantly working to source the best IP that we can. And every now and again, we find a piece of IP that we get the entire company behind, try to build a brand from that IP. Not every piece of IP, of course, lends itself to becoming a brand. But where it does, we try to bring all of those capabilities to work, own the IP that we've sourced, assess its viability as a brand around the world, and then, of course, try to monetize it as best we can. So we source in many different ways. And again, since the beginning of the company, we've been doing that, whether we started by creating some shows ourselves, co-creating them, or now we're working with lots of writers, directors, creative partners all over the world to try and find great IP that we can tell the story of and ultimately, hopefully, monetize into a bigger brand. And I'll give you a couple of examples of great pieces of IP that we're working on right now. Particular one that we have, we sourced and partnered with our Industrial Brothers, a company that we actually own a minority stake in. We co-produced a little show called Dino Ranch with them. Amazing show, is performing wonderfully well. The #1 performing preschool kids TV show on cable in the US. It's on Disney and Disney Plus in the US. It's on CBC here in Canada. Great piece of IP, created by Matt Fernandez at Industrial Brothers, co-produced with Boat Rocker. Our animation team produced the content itself, and our brands and our franchise team is all over the world working on the merchandising and licensing opportunities. And we've partnered with some of the best players in the world in order to try and bring the merchandise and the products to market. So we're really excited about Dino Ranch, how we may have a brand here that we can tell a wonderful story about a bunch of ranchers and a family there with their dinosaurs, as well as try to build an iconic brand that we think audiences around the world will really get to love.
So interesting, the way that you can harness your IP and make it into an entire brand. It's been almost 4 months, John, since Boat Rocker went public. Can you tell us what being listed on TSX means to your company and your stakeholders?
It was, it's part of the journey. It's not the end result. It's another part of that journey that we've been on for nearly 18 years. And a natural one at a certain point when you get to the scale that Boat Rocker had got to. First of all, we'd put some of our own capital in way back. Then we partnered with the BBC back in 2008, and we got some capital from them to grow and learn how to be a better producer, a better distributor. Then in 2015, we partnered with Fairfax, and we brought some capital into the company in order for us to go along and do some acquisitions that we did, almost 10 deals that we did from 2015 up to 2020. And then we looked at the company, we looked at the next phase of growth, and it was a very natural route for us to take, was look to the capital markets, see that they could provide us with more capital to take the company on its next leg of that growth journey. So it's been great for us, and we're very excited to be there. And hopefully, again, over the coming months and quarters, we'll really get a chance to utilize those markets in the way that they were intended and help us with our growth.
John, great conversation. Thank you for your time today, and looking forward to seeing more from Boat Rocker in the future.
We can't wait either. So thank you very much, Caroline. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.